Well, yet another sexual atrocity has occurred at one of America's colleges. This time it's Oberlin. Baldwin House is a small dormitory on Oberlin College campus. It's for women's group and transgendered people. Houses about 35 people or so. And sometime during the recent past, at least one, if not two, white males entered the building, essentially unescorted, and proceeded to fix the radiators, at which point the perpetrators left the building. Now, the inhabitants of Baldwin College are up in arms because white males, or as they like to say, cisgendered males, had entered the building, and having them enter the building to fix the radiator made them nervous, anxious, fearful, and uncomfortable. In fact, we can go directly to the article at Hot Air and find out just how traumatic this awful home invasion was. The article goes on to say, talking about one of the people in Baldwin College, in general, I'm very averse to people entering my personal space. This anxiety was compounded by the fact that the crew would be strangers, and they were more than likely to be cisgendered men. I was angry, scared, and confused. Why didn't the college complete the installation over the summer when the building was empty? Steve, by the way, I'm belittled with Steve Green, Scott, that's your right angle, on the situation in Oberlin. Steve, I was at Oberlin, did a talk there in 2008, which seems like it was a few years ago, but it's actually considerably longer than that. And even in 2008, I realized Oberlin was where reason and logic went to die. It is the most liberal college in America. But I will add to that list now, Oberlin is where reason and logic and fundamental sanity go to die. How bat guano crazy do you have to be legitimately outraged, legitimately scared, nervous, anxious, practically at the point of panic because a heterosexual male or two came in to make sure that you don't freeze to death during the next winter?
Wow. I'd like to say, first, you reminded me of one of my favorite quotes in movie history. It's from A Fish Called Wanda. Oh, do shut up, Portia. And we really need to get back to that. When somebody says something ridiculous, don't indulge them. Knock that off. You only encourage them. And the thing is, we went from celebrate to diversity to mandate neuroticism so quickly.
Mandated neuroticism. I like the sound of that. That's exact. Coerced neuroticism.
The phrase occurred to me, Bill, during the backstage show that we taped first, available, of course, only to BillWhittle.com members. So you really want to pony up to see that because it's good stuff. But yeah, we've reached the point of mandated neuroticism. So much so that we now have grown adults, college students, people who are supposed to be able to be out there on their own, learning how to deal with the real world, or excuse me, dealing with the real world while gaining an education, who are so neurotic that the sight of a straight guy coming in to fix the damn plumbing is more than they can handle. And the thing is, Bill, I'm not sure it's actually more than they can handle. What we have here is a dangerous trend of two things coming together and self-reinforcing in a really ugly positive feedback loop. The first part is this celebration of neuroticism. And I'm not talking about people who are different or minorities.
No, of course not.
No. You want to be gay? Be gay. Fly your freak flag. I'm all for it. Have fun.
I don't care.
Be yourself.
Yes, I don't care.
But this idea that we have to celebrate neuroticism, not people who are different, but people who are neurotic about it. This is culturally extremely unhealthy. What makes it worse is it's being combined with an all too human instinct or desire for totalitarianism. Everybody wants to be able to boss everybody else around. This is why we have a constitution, to keep those people in check. But culturally, we're completely off the rails, because not only are we saying that we're not saying it's okay to be different. We're saying it's bad to be normal, combined with giving a very tiny neurotic minority veto power over essentially the vast majority of the population. And what's worse is, Bill, and I don't want to see this. What's worse is when you piss off the majority, the vast majority, enough, there's going to be a backlash, and that backlash is going to be ugly. And that is the last thing in the world any country needs, any culture needs. But I'm afraid that's where this mandated neuroticism is taking us.
You know, Scott, last time I heard, when I heard this story, I knew it reminded me of something, this generalized, unfocused hatred and what's the word I'm looking for? This blind prejudice, right, against one of those coming into our house. You know, even though I may not have been here, one of those came into our house. How horrible, how horrible. And I realized, when did I hear that before? And I realized it was when I was doing the research for the Booker T. Washington episode I did on America's Forgotten Heroes. And I didn't put this in the show because Daily Wire said there are some words I just simply can't say. And nevertheless, when Booker T. Washington was reaching the absolute height of his fame in his later days, Republican President Theodore Roosevelt invited him to come and have dinner in the White House. And that caused a lot of people to say pretty much exactly the same thing. How could you let a stinking N-word into the White House? How could you possibly allow that to happen? When I hear something like this to me is exactly the same thing. They're not referring to individuals. They're not talking about, well, this guy or that guy, I didn't like the looks of him. They're complaining about the fact that white males were in their space and they're having an absolute cow over it. And I think these people are not only bat guano crazy, I think they're fully morally evil. And what they do is, since they continue to segregate themselves, Steve and Scott, as they continue to become more and more isolated, they become more and more toxic.
Bill, maybe I misheard you, but when you read that quote, and you've got it in front of you, so check me if I'm wrong, but it sounded to me like the person who was complaining doesn't even know who came to fix the radiator, because that quote was more than likely a cisgendered male. So first of all, what kind of a bigot assumes that if somebody is in the plumbing trade, they must be a cisgendered male? I mean, who is this person? Who is this person who thinks that only cisgendered males could possibly be plumbers? So this person is offended by somebody they didn't see. Clearly, they had no direct contact with whoever it was who claimed to fix the plumbing, and is really, under normal circumstances, this would be a complaint to a landlord or whoever's running the dormitory or whatever, of saying, you know, I don't like the fact that somebody was in my room when I wasn't there. I didn't get adequate notice. Couldn't you have done this while we were off for summer break, which you did say, but, you know, who in the history of America has ever fixed a heater in the middle of summer? You wait until it breaks down in the dead of winter. That's when you fix heaters. So I just think that this person is trying to take this and put it into the service of a larger cause as they see it, because they don't even have the foundational information to be able to make this claim. And so they're trying to raise this issue because apparently we had a couple of minutes where we forgot that this was going on at Oberlin College and that there was a transgender dorm. And we just need to make sure you're always aware of the fact that this exists. And like Bill said and Steve said, you know, I don't care. I don't, like, when I call for a tradesman or tradesperson individual to come and do something for me or take my car to a mechanic, I don't go, yeah, can you tell me about the sexual proclivities and preferences of the person who will be, you know, tuning my car?
Not to mention skin color and gender.
Any of that. You know, I just want to know, hey, is this a qualified plumber? Can he do the job? Or HVAC contractor, can he or she or it do the job? I just do the job and do it well. I don't care about any of that stuff. So just the absurdity of suggesting that even, like, I don't like people getting into my personal space and I didn't know this person. Oh, I see. Now the university must contract with professionals who you have a pre-existing relationship relationship with. We can only draw plumbers and HVAC technicians from your circle of friends. I mean, it just gets sillier and sillier. And you're right. It sounds crazy, but I think it's more than crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's intentionally provocative. This person wanted to get a news story generated, wanted to whip up something where there is nothing. And apparently they've succeeded. We're doing a show about it anyway.
I know what's driving this. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Let me speak directly to that woman at Oberlin College, because I'm sure she's watching the show. So here's the deal, sweetheart. You don't mind if I call you sweetheart, do you? Oh, you do? Good. Sweetheart, here's the deal. The reason you're so upset about this is because there are no transgendered plumbers and there are no radical feminist plumbers. And this is what drives your absolute unending hatred of white male heterosexuals. This term cisgender is a fictional term, and I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to call them monarchials, and I'm not going to call them affloflamiacs or whatever other word you want to come up to. They're normal men, okay? And the reason you hate normal men is because they can fix radiators, and you can't. That's what really bothers you so much. That's where all of this rage comes from. They can do things, and you can't, and you don't like that. And since you don't like that, you think that since you can't get up there and learn how to fix plumbing, the only thing that you can do is to make sure that you bring them down. Well, guess what? It doesn't work that way. I've seen feminist writers take male-written characters like Superman and Captain Kirk and Luke Skywalker and pull them down because they are apparently incapable of creating characters that other people would want to read. This is how you work. This is what people with a complete inferiority complex do. They strike out at anybody who's not them because anybody who's not them is good at something and you're not. The only thing you know how to do is protest and complain. That's your sole skill in life. And you know what, sweetheart? Here's the thing. There's not a huge market for that. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of opportunities out there where I'm going to pay somebody to come and complain about something that is bat guano crazy. So you're starting to feel a little pushback on this? Good. We have let the insane inmates run the asylum for long enough. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. This is coming to an end. This madness is coming to an end, and it's coming to an end because we have allowed people to see just how warped and crazy and jealous and bigoted you monsters really are. I'm glad that they found a normal man to come and fix your radiator. It's a normal man that's providing the electricity that you are watching this message by or reading about it by. It's normal men that made the devices that you're talking on. It's normal men that put up the telephone wires and the satellites and all the other stuff that allow you to get together and complain about how rotten normal men are. You know what the people who are the transgendered studies specialists at Oberlin have done for society? I'm going to need another week to think about that. We'll see you next time right here on Right Angle.